Hello, ladies and gentlemen, to another edition of the Mayhem Watch Party, where we watch professional wrestling, and you can watch it with us. Joining me for this week is Mad Mike. Mad Mike, how are you?
Hi, Eamon. I'm doing well. How are you today?
I'm doing fantastic. I don't know why I'm elongating my words, but
And how are you doing on the day when people watch this?
on the day when people watch this, pretty great.
Excellent. Good.
Any day though, you could tell how exuberant I am. But no, yeah, we watch professional wrestling and talk about it, and obviously Extreme Rules is coming up, so we are tackling some extreme matches from around this point in time. Obviously not limited to the Extreme Rules pay-per-view, which, as me and Mike found out, doesn't have a lot of great stuff on it all the time.
Yeah, but I found a little gem nestled within the depths of the WWE network, because this is also the pay-per-view after WrestleMania. So you're expecting a lot of, not rematches per se, but Backlash from WrestleMania. See what I did there?
I see that. That's nice.
It's we're good enough to call Backlash.
We are good enough to call Backlash.
We're good enough to call Backlash. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna take a trip back in the year 2000. And Eamon probably doesn't get that reference because he didn't watch Conan O'Brien.
I watch movies.
That's a TV show.
Yeah.
Okay, so anyway.
Sure is.
Yes. So we're going to go back to the year 2000 for Backlash. And oh man, Eamon, have I got a doozy of a match for us today.
Oh boy.
First of all, I want you to point your browsers, point your WWE Network, open it up. Go to 44 minutes and 28 seconds. And while you do that, I will tell you about the match we're going to see. Heyman, you remember the hardcore title?
Vaguely. I remember back when it was a license plate that Tommy Dreamer wore.
Wow. Okay, we need to find a match with that.
Okay,
I just remembered that now. You're exactly right.
In fairness, I do remember these things. I just wasn't watching wrestling at the time of them.
Sure. But I found a 6-man hardcore match with Taz, Harry Saturn, the Holly Cousins, and the Hardy Brothers. So I'm super excited for this because hardcore matches can either go one of two ways. Either they're amazing or they're horrible shit shows. So, all right.
This will be either one of the two.
So it's gonna be a good time. So I'm assuming you are all at 44 minutes and 28 seconds. So I am going to give the command 3, 2, 1, fire, and we are all going to hit play at the same time, and we're gonna talk about this awesome, potentially awful match. All right, Eamon, are you ready?
I am ready.
All right. 3, 2, 1, fire.
And we're off.
We are off.
Wow, this is a big building wherever they're at.
Yeah. Can I say I love the set?
This is the first ever. Well, no, this isn't the first ever Backlash, but this is the first use of this set that would become a trope for this pay-per-view.
The swinging hooks of Backlash. Like, is that the only set that they've had with moving pieces?
I don't think so. There's probably others, but this is definitely the most memorable of the moving sets. So at this point, okay, so they're showing recaps of the Hardy Boys fighting on SmackDown for the Hardcore title and Crash Holly stealing it. So yeah, this was obviously I wasn't watching wrestling at this time, but this was obviously in the midst of the 24/7 hardcore title role. This was actually the pay-per-view right after WrestleMania 2000, where they had the Hardcore Invitational Battle Royal with I think like 13 or 14 wrestlers.
Amen. But we can get back to that. Can we first comment on Taz's sparklers?
Oh, it's Taz.
No, they're misfiring sparklers.
It's only on like one half of the stage.
Yeah,
this is amazing.
That was really good.
This was like Taz. this is kind of for those that don't. I watch or listen to a little podcast called the Attitude Era podcast, and they do a great job of detailing how far Taz falls around this point in time, as far as like he chokes out Kurt Angle at the Royal Rumble. It's amazing, and then he's just downhill from there.
The only time he actually gets to pick it back up a little bit is when Mike Awesome screws over ECW.
Yes.
That's the only time he really gets to pick it back up. But
I think it was around this time, if I'm not mistaken.
I think it was no, because ECW. I think it was more in June or July.
Maybe.
I believe it was, because that was the time where Taz went back to ECW to win the ECW title from Mike Awesome, and he proceeded to have a match with Triple H on the following SmackDown, which was amazing. But so Hardcore Holly, he's kind of a dick.
He's kind of a dick, which actually kind of fits in this role that he had with Crash at the time.
Oh, yeah.
Crash was very much a comedy character, and Hardcore Holly was kind of a piece of shit.
But this is going to be interesting, because we have two sets of family members in this match.
We do. I enjoy all the wrestlers in this match as far as for their wrestling capabilities go. But also, this isn't a wrestling match. This is a hardcore match, which is very different.
We need to eventually get to a point where we review a Saturn match where he is accompanied by Moppy.
Yes.
I'm not sure when that occurs in the life cycle of Perry Saturn. I know it's soon.
It's not till towards the end, actually, of his career in WWF, but yeah.
Like I said, I know it's soon because he didn't last in WWF that long. He did not. Like, as far as the Radicals went, he's like the remainder when you do long division at the end.
So I believe that the rules of this match, this isn't like the Hardcore Battle Royal where there's like a time limit or anything like that.
No.
I believe the rule is that you have to pin Crash, or Crash has to pin somebody else.
No, I believe it's first pinfall.
Is it first pinfall for anyone?
First pinfall because all of these men are involved in the match. However, I think that if someone brought out their own separate referee and pinned Crash, they would win.
Because I always wonder about that, because I feel like I'm trying to think if the 24/7 rule like applies like during the time point of this match. And
my
Crash
God!
is timing one of the set pieces.
You know what? If I could time travel and book a match, I would book 2000 Crash Holly against like 2005 Super Eric Young.
That'd be pretty great.
I just feel like that would be so much fun.
So yeah, I believe it's Matt Hardy and Crash are fighting on this thing.
Oh yeah, you can tell it's Matt because he has a shirt on.
Oh God!
Oh God, he's hanging like a piñata. That is horrible.
That thing also does not look like the sturdy. Like, it's obviously hooked to something, but like,
yeah,
it does not look. Ooh, and he dives on the heavy one.
Mm-hmm. All right, this is actually starting off very good. I like it.
Yeah. So yeah, but I mean, obviously, Crash Holly fits in well with the hardcore environment, as well as the Hardy Boys, obviously.
Oh shit!
Perry Saturn just slammed. I think it was Crash onto one of the steel spike moving parts and just broke it.
Yeah, you can definitely tell. Oh my! Jeff is using. Oh, I thought he was going to use it as a battering ram for a second.
Nope, he just hurricanrana's off of it. See, I always, there's some of these kind of hardcore matches. It's just kind of guys hitting each other with stuff.
Oh yeah,
and I'm sure it will devolve to that eventually. But like, I like that they're being kind of innovative with like certain spots and stuff like that.
Well, I mean, that was the cool thing about Crash Holly's run as hardcore champion. Like, because of the character he was, you could be super creative with everything.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and it gets brought up anytime we talk about Crash Holly. But the match he had in like the Discovery Zone, type of thing. Like that, that's perfect. That's perfect fun wrestling. Like, there's nothing wrong with that at all.
Now, okay, so Hardcore Harley has, I think, a 2x4 that he's using.
I believe so.
And Jeff now.
Oh.
Oh, God.
Yeah, Taz was still super sloppy at this point.
He was very sloppy. Harry Saturn always felt super underrated to me from the stuff I've seen of him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Saturn was a weird kind of cat. Actually, I'd recommend looking up some of the matches of the Eliminators with him and Curtis in ECW. Yeah, they were a fun tag team. Like, I mean, they were kind of the tag team that didn't always have to go hardcore. But, like, they had a big feud with the Pitbulls and the Gangstas, I think.
Right.
The Eliminators were a lot of fun.
Okay, so not a lot of weapon use, at least now. There's a chair and a trash can lid and all that stuff, but yeah.
Well, you always have to kind of have a lull in the match, because if you just have weapon use all over the place, the fans aren't going to be able to respond as much. But I love that there was always a cardinal rule of the hardcore match. You had to use everything that was in the shopping cart at least once.
Very true. There's some sort of sign that Hardcore Holly just hit crash with.
I was trying to see what it said, but I couldn't get a good shot of it.
So yeah, this is
yeah, it's kind of, I don't know. I kind of wish this was moving to the backstage area.
Yeah, like that's the thing. Like, I feel like I remember for the WrestleMania 2001, because I actually remember renting that on DVD or on VHS when I first saw it, and yeah, it's basically like brawling all over the arena, just like, and I always love that concept of it. But yeah, as now. Yeah, I guess it is. You can sort of pin it.
Yeah, because it's like a triple threat match. Only it's 6 people.
Gotcha.
Yeah, but if anyone else came into the match under 24/7 rules, they'd have to pin Crash. Who is that referee? I couldn't tell. Is that Kyoto?
No, well, I can't.
It might be Kyoto.
It looks like Brian Hebner almost.
Oh no, this was 2000. Brian Hebner was not refereeing then, I don't think. Oh, this was before they discovered how to break those dasher boards.
Yeah. Surprise, Matt Hardy goes into one and it acts like an actual barricade.
Yeah. This is weird because I think this is Jeff Hardy totally clean.
Probably.
I haven't seen that in a while.
They're still pretty young at this point.
Yeah, that's true.
Boys. They weren't as they weren't as wild and free as
he just grabbed a random extension cord somewhere.
Jesus.
And King still not making good jokes.
Nope, never did. Never did.
He did back in like 95, 96.
At least his delivery is a bit better around this point in time. Like nowadays, he'll just be like, "Hey, you want to hear a joke?" It's like, no, I want you to set up a joke like a joke is meant to be. Yeah, right now it's a lot of going for pins and getting them broken up.
Yeah, this almost looks like the worst scramble match in history. Like, I'm surprised no one has kind of... Now, because I guess with a match like this, they all kind of have to be in the same area.
Assumingly, yeah.
Yeah, because...
that would be a smart move on their part. Nice German by Perry Saturn. But, yeah, I mean, because it would make sense strategic-wise to sort of not go off on your own path.
Yeah, unless you had, like, multiple referees, which that would just make this interesting.
And I guess we didn't intentionally choose this match for this reason, but I guess it is very topical that Taz is in the news this week for leaving TNA.
That's true. Yeah. How do you think about that?
I'm gonna miss hearing the phrase "yam bag" over matches.
Are you?
Not really.
I wonder who they're gonna get to replace him, because gonna be Josh Matthews and Jeremy Borash.
That's gonna be sad.
Oh, doctor, that's gonna
Matt Hardy tried to swing a cookie sheet at Perry Saturn on the outside of the ring, and he just almost flopped over the top rope.
Yeah, but I have to say, if it's Borash and Matthews, they're both gonna sound so similar to me.
Bland and bland.
That might be one step closer to getting me to stop watching TNA altogether. Because right now, they're getting pretty close. They're getting pretty close. Oh,
wow.
Very nice move, Jeffrey.
Jeff Hardy did for those that aren't watching with us, and Perry Saturn too, did a springboard, like, acai moonsault.
Yeah.
This was back when Jeff Hardy was, like, had so much potential. And, like, I mean, and he lived up to the potential, but
for the most part.
Just kind of fell out.
I mean, I don't know if I'd ask Sting if he lived up to the potential, but
well, now.
So Eamon, how familiar are you with the Hollies? Did you ever get to see their super heavyweight gimmick?
I did not. I think around 2002 they were kind of verging off. Crash Holly was still around for a little bit. I remember. Hardcore Holly. Was kind of doing some things. The first thing I remember of Hardcore Holly was his great feud with Brock Lesnar.
Oh, to be fair, that was really kind of cool.
It was kind of cool, but also it wasn't going to amount to anything.
Oh, of course not. That's like, anytime Brock Lesnar and Big Show feud.
Ooh, Falcon Arrow.
I was going to say, was that Falcon Arrow?
By Hardcore Holly. Like, this is really, like, Holly, Perry Saturn are, like, really impressing me here. As Jeff Hardy just pulled out a ladder. But no, that's the most I remember of the Hollies, other than Molly Holly, which it took me like a while to realize, like, the reason her name is Holly is because she's related. I wasn't around for blonde Molly Holly. So.
By the way, Molly Holly, former hardcore champion.
Former hardcore champion as well, yes. Oh, God.
All right, so since we're talking about the hardcore champ, who do you think is the worst hardcore champion?
Oh, that's a good question.
Because I have an answer. I don't even think if you know this exists, but I'm going to tell you who my pick is. I think you'll probably agree. One of the Godfather's hoes.
I heard that happen once. That's funny because I was actually going to say one of the few hardcore title defenses I remember was Terry Runnels won the hardcore title at one point during a backstage segment. This was back when she was interviewing on Raw. And there's a swanton off the ladder. Jeff Hardy also no-selling it, like I'm assuming you'd be in some bit of pain just doing a swanton off a ladder.
Maybe.
And he's immediately up to break up that pin.
Yeah, but it's also not one of those like huge swantons. He was essentially at the same height of the top rope.
Yeah.
It wasn't like he was going through a table or anything like that. Uh-oh.
Taz mission.
The Katsa Hajime.
Oof.
Those stop signs do hurt, though. Like, I used to have a stop sign in my apartment, and jokingly, me and my buddies hit each other with it. Not to the point where it bent, but those don't tickle. They don't tickle at all.
This is pretty great, actually. I was worried about this, and this is actually pretty good.
Yeah, it's picking up. I think we might be at the finish here. Yep. Yeah. Crash Holly.
Crash Holly gets pinned after Perry Saturn, or Crash Holly pins Taz after Perry Saturn hit him with a stop sign. Crash Holly pins Taz. Like Taz. Like Taz was supposed to be like
Taz, former ECW champion, badass, gave Kurt Angle his first.
Oh God, there was one. I don't know if they used it, but there was one of those water cooler containers. We're gonna go CZW up in here and hit people with those.
See, you also have to remember at this point the Jakks action figures came out with so many accessories.
Oh yeah,
you almost had to include them all in a match, even if you never used it.
That's true.
But yeah, so as we see Jonathan Coachman with hair talk to Sean McMahon, I think that's the watch party for this week.
That is the watch party for this week. I actually really enjoyed that.
Yeah, it wasn't too bad.
Perry Saturn and Hardcore Holly were really good in it. Those are like the ones like shockers for me, I guess, is that they really kind of stuck out. And the Hardy Boys as well. Obviously, they're really great. But yeah, that was fun, actually. That was really fun.
Yeah. If you guys have a hardcore match that you'd like us to watch, that's kind of what we're sticking to until Extreme Rules. We're trying to keep it around the 10-minute length because that otherwise we would have seen like Cena and RVD or something like that. But we're trying to find some little hardcore gems. You know what I think I'm gonna do, Eamon, for next week? I think I'm going to look into the WCW Hardcore Title Archive.
Oh, buddy. Oh, boy.
Oh, brother. I think we're going to see some hardcore hack. I think that might be what happens next week.
Oh, God almighty.
Maybe some Norman Smiley, unofficial mascot of the Wrestling Mayhem show.
And WWE Performance Center trainer.
Alrighty. So if you want to see more of us talk about things that are live wrestling and not older wrestling, tune in to live.sorgatronmedia.com every Tuesday night, where we have everything from movies to video games to tech to wrestling of a less professional nature.
Of an independent nature.
I know. I like saying no. I was talking about WWE.
Yeah, convenient.
Or TNA.
There we go.
Yeah. But live.sorgatronmedia.com, starting around about 6 o'clock, we have the Movie Minute with myself, Malengo, Sorgatron, and our co-host Ashley. We have awesome cast with Sorgatron and his whole cast of characters talking about tech. We have Boss Battle, brought to you by the lovely folks at Insert Coin to begin, with Bobby F. J. Town, Chachi, Sorgatron, and whoever the hell else they bring in for this week to talk about video games. And then you got the Wrestling Mayhem show with all of us saying weird shit about wrestling magazines from the 80s sometimes.
Yep.
And then you have the nice little dessert, the sousson of flavor at the end of the night with
the mint at the bottom of your pillow.
Mints don't go on bottoms of the pillows because otherwise they would melt. But you have Eamon 2 Please with the Indie Mayhem show. And do you know who your guest is going to be this weekend, Eamon, or no?
I am semi-confirmed a guest, so you'll have to find out by the time we listen. Or, what's a good, when we figure out who it is, we'll probably announce it on Twitter at Mayhem Show. So follow us there.
Excellent. Good plug, Eamon. Good plug.
Yeah. Tie it all together.
Alrighty. So for myself, I'm Mad Mike 4883. That is Eamon 2 Please on the Twitters. That's been the watch party, and we'll be watching stuff with you next week.